what is a myth? Well, a myth is a fictitious story, usually, and it usually includes a moral to the story, as most things are, but it includes many other tellings in between, at least in most of the myths I've done this semester. They are usually used to kind of tell you life lessons, or even to um, um, move your perspective, depending on who the author is. They're like any other story, except they include, Greek gods and cool mythical beasts. Um, how do different tellings of myths tell different purposes? Well, each telling can be very different depending on who the author is. If you want to be, let's say, the myth of Hercules, the original myth may have been much darker or not actually all that interesting, but when Disney went off and made their version of it in the movie, they made it a cater to kids, but also much more interesting and easier to tell the story. That also goes with every other myth that has been retold in different ways. Even, like most myths are verbally told. They're all kind of similar in nature, but they're different meanings behind them depending on who the author was. With the Greek culture, they focus a lot on art and tragedies and myths. They focus a lot of their culture around it, and built around the actual tons of gods that they believed in. They were very similar to us, where they had a sophisticated government with actual laws and a actual city structure that worked out. Although we today don't really have a lot of the similarities that they used to. They care a lot about more writing and more about war and what it actually meant for your country and what it really means. We don't follow that as much. Myth that I chose to summarize and explain and relate to is the Odyssey, Odysseus' journey. The myth itself revolves around Odysseus, who ends up going along to the 10-year Trojan War. Once the war was over, ends up getting stuck in a sequence of scenarios of him getting tossed around Italy and Greece. After 10 years of getting tossed around, he finally gets home. He arrives as a beggar, and then he sees that his home is not the same, and that things have gone wrong. And then he fixes it. He becomes himself again at the end, and he saves the day like he does in the rest of the myth. But what that myth actually means in today's at least today's lens is that nothing has really changed for war. If a soldier were to come home from a very long war today, they would experience the exact same problems. I mean, yeah, it's possible they would just go straight home, but also they may become a prisoner of war somehow and just got lost. After a period of time, yeah, they would just come home. They would seem to be a different person to who they go home to. it would be a problem. You would see things that are very different, or even have gone horribly wrong when you got home. They they wouldn't see you as yourself, and yeah, you wouldn't be the same. But after a while, you would, fix the problems and hopefully become yourself again. So I forgot about one other thing. The other examples of different retellings of myths can be used as tragedies and satires. In Euripides' Cyclops myth, he ends up using the section from the Odyssey of Odysseus and his men meeting the Cyclops, except it was more on the, satire side. So a lot more funny, a lot more interesting to see as a myth. It was interesting. Kind of funny. Man, I mean, the Odyssey is filled with tons of other moral and life kind of decisions, like keeping with the Cyclops section. At the end, when he decides to be be on the cocky side, he ends up giving his name and kind of being rude about it. I mean, you could end up with the life story, or at least the moral being, don't cross people that may be important, or who could do stuff, who can put repercussions on you. Basically, don't be mean to everyone that you see, no matter what they've done to you. That could be a possible ending to that myth. I would say that would be the end of this 7-minute video.